How do you feel about your own involvement in this now? I mean, do you feel responsible for what happened?
Yeah, I do. I do feel responsible for it. It's something that I regret. And that's partly why I'm here talking to you, so that I can talk to, so that people can know about what this company does, what this company is. Throughout history, you have examples of grossly unethical experiments.
In 2004, a website went live from a dorm room. It called itself a directory, a way for students to find each other. Within a decade, it held 1 billion faces. What it promised was simple, connection. What it delivered was not. This is not a story about one man's genius. It is the story of suits and settlements, of research projects and public platforms, of data turned into instruments of persuasion. This is the conspiracy that built Facebook. Origin stories simplify. They compress conflict into a single image, a lone mind, an idea, a breakthrough. Real history is not a fable. It is contested territory. Harvard already had Facebooks, paper directories of faces. Into this field walked Mark Zuckerberg. Within weeks, a site called The Facebook was live. Within months, litigation followed. Cameron and Tyler Winklevoss and Divya Narendra alleged the same facts in court. That an idea, Harvard connection, had been taken, delayed, and ultimately eclipsed.
An issue that arose as to how to deal with the fact that Facebook was assuming liabilities of ConnectU, the company they were acquiring. And there would be an adjustment, they said. There should be an adjustment of the number of shares of Facebook that are going to be issued. At that point, Facebook said, well, we'll use the valuation of $8.88 that we recently got. And at that point, there was a terrific disconnect between the price on which the shares were being issued in the first place, $35.90, and the price that the adjustment was proposed at. And that's when the settlement came off the rails.
Was it all subsequent to the agreement to settle?
Yes. Yes.
The lawsuit ended in a settlement, millions of dollars and stock. The public story became one of triumph. The private story remained a wound. Two things matter for our analysis. First, early ownership of ideas was contested. The origins were not pure. Second, legal settlement is a consolidation mechanism. It converts dispute into capital. When intellectual access is limited, litigation becomes a method of securing the means of production. On the other side of the map, not in dorm rooms but in corridors of power, a program called LifeLog was sketched. DARPA described it as an ambitious experiment. Record the events of a life into a searchable digital ledger. Everything a person saw, read, said, and did. A permanent, machine-readable record of experience. LifeLog was cancelled. The cancellation date is unnervingly proximate to another event. February 4th, 2004. The day Facebook launched as the Facebook. Coincidence? Possibly. Pattern? Plausible. We must compare function, not myth. LifeLog described a capability. Facebook, and the platforms that followed, implemented a commercialized variant of similar affordances. Persistent data capture, indexing, and searchability across people and events. The migration is familiar. Defense research, academic prototypes, consumer platforms. Capabilities escape their lab names. Modern persuasion is no longer a pamphlet or a TV spot. It is a data-driven operation. The raw material is human behavior. Likes, shares, comments, time on page. Each interaction is a marker, a feature, a probability. In the early 2010s, a research application collected profile information from users and their friends. Through social graphs, the app extended its reach. A few 100,000 users turned into tens of millions of indirectly harvested profiles. That data, aggregated, labeled, and modeled, traveled to a consulting firm, Cambridge Analytica. Let us be exact about the mechanisms that made weaponization feasible. 1. Scale. Large N gives statistical power. Data on millions yields stable correlations. 2. Proxy features. Likes correlate with latent traits. Social proximity infers missing attributes. 3. Microtargeting infrastructure. Ad platforms allow delivery of bespoke messages to narrow segments. 4. Feedback loops. Messages are A/B tested against real audiences, producing iterative optimization. These pieces form an assembly line: measurement, model, message, optimization. Cambridge Analytica presented itself as a precision instrument for influence. Its executives spoke of psychographic targeting as if it were a scalpel. Identify the persuadable, tailor the message, and deliver it where it lands. Investigations revealed that harvested datasets were used to build personality profiles. Those profiles informed ad creatives and targeting strategies for political campaigns in multiple countries. The claim that this decisively swung elections remains debated among scholars. The more defensible claim is structural. The capacity for targeted influence was demonstrably real, and it was used by actors with political aims. In asymmetric conflict, precision beats scale. A small, well-targeted campaign can influence a narrow cohort at a fraction of the cost of traditional mass persuasion. Politics is often decided by margins. In that context, targeted persuasion is not trivial. It is potentially decisive. Why do platforms have this power? Start with the business model. Facebook monetizes attention and prediction. Advertisers buy outcomes: clicks, purchases, conversions, votes. Algorithms are reward machines. They optimize for engagement because engagement is currency. The result is an economy that rewards content which provokes reaction: outrage, curiosity, fear. Structurally critical features include graph architecture, relational data that amplifies inference, friend data multiplies coverage, APIs and app access. Early openness allowed external apps to reach beyond their users. That was the vector Kogan exploited. Ad segmentation tools enable advertisers to define extremely narrow audiences. Machine learning feedback. Algorithms learn what keeps eyes on the feed and amplify it. Where does responsibility lie? The record points to distributed culpability. Founders and executives created systems and product decisions. Investors demanded growth. Advertisers demanded results. Academic researchers published methods. App developers collected data. None of these actors alone built the system. Together, they created its emergent behavior. Key documents anchor the narrative. Early lawsuits that reveal contested origins. DARPA records that show conceptual overlap with LifeLogging. Investigative reporting and whistleblower testimony that documented data flows to consulting firms. The pattern: overlap, migration, consolidation. The result: a functioning architecture of influence. Skeptics remind us of complexity. Some researchers argue psychographic targeting effect sizes are modest on aggregate. Others note that broader social forces, economic dislocation, media fragmentation, partisan realignment, predate Facebook. These points are important. They prevent simplistic causal claims. But tempering does not erase structural fact. Data was harvested, targeting tools existed, and actors used them. Even small nudges matter when they are surgical, repeated, and optimized. The capability was real. The risk was real.
Yes, it was a grossly unethical experiment because you are playing with an entire country, the psychology of an entire country without their consent or awareness. And not only are you playing with the psychology of an entire nation, you're playing with the psychology of an entire nation in the context of the democratic process.